Welcome to Agents of Film. I'm John. Maria, I have a question.
Yes.
How old were you when the first XMen movie came out?
First X-Men, that was 2000, right?
It was the year 2000, Y2K.
I was probably 12 or 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So I was thinking about this week because that was kind of like the beginning of all kinds of superhero movies that came out during, when you and I were in like middle school, high school. So I was thinking between the time that the first X-Men came out and right before Iron Man came out in 2008, and that summer when The Dark Knight came out, and those two movies kind of changed superhero movies as we know it. What was your favorite movie before that? What was your favorite superhero movie between the year 2000 and the year right before Iron Man in 2008?
Oh, that's tough because every time someone asks me like my favorite superhero movie around that time, I do say X-Men. Only because I remember actually watching it multiple times in a row even at my house and never getting tired of it.
Whoa,
I was so happy
Maria,
with the way they handled it.
Slow
and
down. Which X-Men though? There's so many.
Oh, the first one, the very first one.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
that was to me like probably the best, even out of the three.
Wow.
And as you said, it just started this whole new wave of superhero movies, and I just loved how they handled Wolverine, and every single character felt complete enough. Like it wasn't like, oh, let's bring in a lot of superheroes and it's just gonna get diluted or something. But if I have to think about it, maybe Spider-Man 2 was also pretty up on my list.
Whoa, Maria, how dare you? Spider-Man 2 is my pick. So
Oh, I'm
you
sorry.
can't...
I'm sorry. You did ask me first.
I did ask you, because, well, the lady goes first. But, okay, before we argue about Spider-Man 2, though, how can you like the first X-Men more than X2, X-Men United? I don't understand. I didn't realize that was possible.
That's true. There's a lot more action in the second one. I don't know. I just really liked how they just started everything out. I always feel like the first superhero movie of a trilogy or whatever is very slow because they're introducing characters and you're just kind of getting to know them. But I felt like X-Men, the very first one, was just a great balance of introducing characters and a lot of action and setting that whole world of, humans against mutants. I really liked it.
Well, I don't argue with you with the idea that the first one is sometimes a lot better than the second one, and vice versa. First Iron Man, most people consider to be the best of the trilogy. The first X-Men, though, usually people say X2, but you know what? You have your opinion for a reason. So Spider-Man 2 is your pick, huh? Because that's my favorite superhero movie ever.
Tell me why.
Well, I mean, it has, why. It has everything. It has action, romance, justice, selfless, heroics. I said heroics already, but it bears to be repeated. I think it's just the best superhero arc that's been told. It's just the way, just the story of Peter Parker told, against Dr. Octopus, and there was something about it when I first saw it in 2004 where I was just like, this is a superhero movie. This is what we, because let's break it down, because a lot of people are probably thinking to themselves right now, I wonder what my favorite, and I took the liberty of making a list because I was like, well, I know Spider-Man 2 is my pick, but what else came out? Maria, I want to get your gut reaction on these films. Daredevil came out in this time.
Oh God, is there a reaction needed for Daredevil? That was not good. I didn't like Daredevil at all.
Well, and in light of some Fantastic Four news that came out this week, hint, we kind of found out this week that the Invisible Woman is going to be adopted in the new Fantastic Four. We won't get into that because that would take us about 30 minutes to complain about, but just let's talk about the first two Fantastic Four movies, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. What was your reaction on those movies?
Well, the second one I didn't even bother watching. Wow. I'm a little embarrassed to say that I liked the first one because I think I was a huge fan of the Fantastic Four cartoons, and so when they said it was coming out, I was very excited about it. If I watch it now, I would probably hate it. It was very cheesy. It was just whatever. But at that time, I was really into it.
A funny thing about that, actually, I watched Silver Surfer before I saw the first one. I don't know why, and I remember hating it. And then I watched the first one. I was like, oh, this is okay. So I think I have to agree with you on that one. The Incredible Hulk.
No, which one?
The
Incredible
very
Hulk
first
is
one.
with Edward Norton?
And, because Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton came out after Iron Man in 2008.
Oh,
so
no.
So sorry, not Incredible Hulk.
I couldn't finish that movie.
This is Ang Lee's Hulk. Sorry, I have to, be very clear about that. Yeah, that movie was horrendous.
It was terrible.
I did play the video game, though, and I beat it. Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 1 was good.
Okay.
I liked it. Spider-Man 3, again, did not even bother. And I've seen, these different scenes where you're like, what the hell is going on with Peter Parker? It was bad. The whole emo thing just was bad.
It's about as bad as it gets, especially when you consider how good the second one is. And the internet's already raged about Spider-Man 3 enough, so we don't have to. Okay, Punisher. And not Punisher Warzone, because Punisher Warzone came out after the MCU got re-kicked off. But this is the first Punisher.
The Punisher was good. The Punisher had a different feel to all these other very lively and bright superhero movies, so I did like it.
Okay, well then related to that, the Blade movies, because Blade 2 came out in 2002 and Blade Trinity came out in 2004.
I think everybody can agree that Blade is a badass. I don't know anybody who didn't like Blade. I mean, the third one I didn't watch, but the first two were pretty good.
Third one's okay. I think the second one's probably the best, just if you wrap everything up. Okay, but those are all Marvel films. I know you're, Dr. DC, pretty much. There were only 2 DC movies that I could find that came out. I mean, maybe I'm missing one, but I mean, obviously the 2 big ones were Batman Begins in 2005 and Superman Returns in 2006. So, Batman Begins
was a great start to something new. I think when Christopher Nolan took on the project, it just started like a new standard of superhero movies that you later see on 2008 with The Dark Knight, that it's like, okay, we really need to change our game, and just superhero movies just escalated to something way better. Oh, Superman Begins is one of those movies. Do you have movies that you think are amazing and then people start talking about it and you realize you're alone in your opinion?
Right, I had the same reaction as Speed Racer, but go ahead. And it's Superman Returns. You said Superman Begins.
I was the same way with Superman Begins. I thought it was great. I was really happy that Bryan Singer was in it. Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor is just... I have a crush on Kevin Spacey, but we're not going to talk about that. And so for years, I thought Superman Begins was so great until I heard people talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, that movie was kind of not fantastic at all.
Oh, gosh. I kind of see where you're coming from. I liked Superman Returns. I don't think it was very bad. But
sorry, I said Superman Begins.
You did. You said it twice, and I was like, no, Maria, stop.
Excuse me.
It's okay. I think because I love Batman Begins a lot. And I even though Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises are just totally on a different level in terms of scale and, whatever, I think Batman Begins was really, really fun, a really cool Batman story. Superman Returns, though, I didn't think it was as great, but I love the Superman movies from the 70s, but I kind of didn't totally remember everything about that world. I kind of wish that they had just rebooted like they did with Batman, so that kind of distracted me. But I kind of agree with you. This was okay. It was fine. I mean, it's nobody's favorite probably, but Kevin Spacey was Lex Luthor in my eyes, and Brandon Routh, he went on to do other cool things like be in Chuck and be the best villain in Chuck. Okay, there were 2 other films that came out. They weren't DC, but I have to bring up my super ex-girlfriend because Luke Wilson. But I already know what your reaction is that, so you don't have to say anything. Hellboy came out. Now, remember, this is the first Hellboy. It came out in, I think, 2004. The sequel didn't come out until after Iron Man in 2008. So, did you like Hellboy? Did you see it?
I did like Hellboy. Hellboy's not my cup of tea, but I can agree that it's a pretty good movie. It was, I think, directed by Guillermo del Toro as well. Yeah. So it had something. Yeah, it was good.
It was cool. I wish Dark Horse had more movies coming out. They definitely have a cool comic book lore. So those are the films. If you guys liked any of those movies more than Spider-Man 2, then feel free to let us know in the comments why your opinion's amazing. But as far as I can tell, I mean, not a lot of these movies were on my list for being that great. Especially, we didn't even bring it up, but X-Men 3, holy crap. I enjoyed it in the theater, but I just remember feeling so unsatisfied afterward. And I was just like, man, I really don't like where they went with this.
I felt very betrayed from the very beginning. Just the way they handled everything in the end. It was just like, it just went down bad.
Oh, really did. But hey, it's a new era. We're getting new Daredevil. We're getting new Fantastic Four. Hopefully getting another new Hulk. And, we can get into more the Spider-Man whatever has been going on with that lately. Actually, I noticed you saw the How It Should Have Ended did the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Did you like that?
I love them. They do such a great job at deciding how things should end, and I agree completely.
They really did. That's awesome. We'll link to that at the bottom so you guys can check it out. All right, so this weekend the BoxTrolls came out. I didn't get to see it, sadly. Hopefully I'm going to see it tonight. And actually, I had the same thing happen last week with Maze Runner. And Maria, I did watch Maze Runner. I think you may have saw. I wrote a review. Maze Runner is excellent. Super fun.
Really?
Movie. Yeah. If you guys are on the fence, I strongly advise you to go check it out. It competes with Hunger Games. I don't think it's better, but I enjoyed it for what it was in its own right. It's much better than Divergent. Like,
all right.
Holy crap, it's better than Divergent. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. The review got a lot of reception too. Actually, like I wrote it for my site. And I didn't write it for Movie Pilot because I didn't write the review until Wednesday because I really wanted to let it process. So I wrote it for my own website, and it just, the fan reaction, like people I think that was the most commented review I've ever gotten on my own website. Like, it was weird. Like, it got probably more views than my Catching Fire review, which I thought was like more than I probably warranted. But yeah, you should definitely check that one out. It's cool.
I will.
Yeah. But you got to see the BoxTrolls this weekend. I wanted to go see The Equalizer since you were going to see BoxTrolls, and we could have, compared notes. But tell me, what were your thoughts on BoxTrolls, and if it was good or not? Because hey, I could see that tonight, or I could see Equalizer.
BoxTrolls was good.
Okay.
It's like a mixed feeling about it. Like, you become very interested in the world that they have created because it is amazing. What they have done, I think it's the best stop motion animation I've seen.
Wow. Ever.
It's really impressive.
Have you? You've seen Paranorman, you've seen Coraline, Nightmare Before Christmas. There's a lot of competition. Corpse Bride.
There is a lot of competition, and they're all amazing in their own way. There was just something about this movie that was superior in that sense. And you have different scenes where the movement is just so fluid and perfect. Wow. Like the BoxTrolls go down this manhole to where they live underground, and they're just sliding through cardboard boxes, and it's so perfectly done. So in terms of the look, it's just as strange as you would imagine it would be, but it's really admirable and beautiful in a weird way. Now, my problem with BoxTrolls is that it takes a while for you to get into it, and a movie that has such a strange theme and look to it should really suck you in from the beginning. And I feel like they took a very long time in letting you know what it was all about. Mm-hmm. So the first half of the movie, it feels kind of slow and just a little awkward. The dialogue between the human characters just feels a little bit off. And you just want to see more of the trolls and not so much of what's going on upstairs in the Cheeseville town. But there's a moment in the movie where Eggs, who's the main character, the kid who thinks he's a box troll, has to come up to the surface and try to act like a boy. From then on, the movie, it just packs a punch. It's really funny. The message of the movie is also really sweet, which is sort of like, you don't let other people make you, you make yourself, and you decide who you're going to be. So after that part, it's really great. But I feel like if you're not into it, the first half of the movie, you're going to be like, oh, I made a terrible decision coming into this movie. But I think overall, it's a pretty good job.
How long is it?
It's not long at all. It's like an hour and 36 minutes.
Okay, so that's better. So if it takes a while to get into, but it's not like the movie's that long. So that sounds like an all right. Yeah, okay. I think that's fair enough. If you had to rate this as, is it worth watching? What would you say?
I would say it is worth watching. Like I said, if you like Strange and you are a fan of Coraline and Paranorman, it's definitely not as dark as Coraline, but I think you will enjoy it. Like I said, I think the movie fails on getting you into the story early on. But it's definitely worth a watch. I wouldn't say just dismiss it. I would even tell you go see it in theaters. It's pretty damn good.
Cool. And if you have to, you said that this, were you saying that this is better than Nightmare Before Christmas, or that you enjoyed it more than Nightmare Before Christmas? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Oh man, it's just Nightmare Before Christmas is so iconic, and
right.
No, you can't compare them whatsoever. I would say Nightmare Before Christmas is better because the characters overall are very interesting.
Okay.
Whereas in this one, you kind of just like the boy and the trolls, and everybody else is sort of a right. Actually, no, that's a lie. Ben Kingsley's character, who's the villain, is perfully done, and he does a great job at that.
Oh, okay, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Is he better than the Mandarin in Iron Man 3?
Way better.
Okay, that's all I needed to know then. So Maria, this is strange to me because, okay, so everyone, you heard it here, BoxTrolls, check it out. It's in theaters pretty much everywhere, I think. Now, in the world of TV, there was a big show that came out this week, a little show called Gotham, and I've been completely mum about my thoughts on it because I wanted to wait until the show so I could talk about it. So I haven't tweeted about it, I haven't written anything on Movie Pilot, not a thing. And I was expecting you and I to have a heated discussion about Gotham. But as I recall from last night, you said, no, John, I didn't watch Gotham, even though I'm allegedly Dr. DC.
Hey, that title was bestowed upon me. I didn't pick it.
Okay, fair enough. But what? So
no, but
so
I didn't get a chance to watch it. I do want to, but I've been very attentive of people's reviews about it, and I've heard good things. I've heard like so-so things. What did you think about it?
I was more in the so-so area of it. In fact, I would compare it to kind of how you described BoxTrolls. The first half of Gotham is painful because you're just like, holy crap, did they just turn the beautiful Batman universe into another freaking cop procedural? Because that's exactly what it felt like. And like the whole time I was like, okay, please tell me that this does not take place in modern or recently modern times. Please tell me that this is in the 90s or at least the 80s or something, because I don't want this show to be Smallville. I don't want it to be, oh, what if, you know, because like Bruce Wayne's a kid, right? In when Gotham opens. And I'm sorry, I didn't even describe the show. For anyone who doesn't know what Gotham is a new show on Fox, which is about, it's basically the prequel television series to Batman as a fictional character. So think Smallville, but for Batman. And it's not really about Bruce Wayne, necessarily. Bruce Wayne is in it. He has a role, but the main character is Detective Gordon, and kind of on his rise to eventually becoming Commissioner Gordon by the time Batman is around. So that's what the movie is based on. And my criticisms of it are very simple, and they're things that I think can easily be fixed. I think the pilot was strategically generic, if that makes any sense. I think you should still watch it. If you have any interest in the show, if you like Batman, definitely watch it. I think they committed a lot of sins that I think they did knowing was a sin because they want to bring people in to eventually make it weird. And that's what I want. So the issue I had for first of all was that you watch the show and they go to extreme lengths to sprinkle in characters you know, along with characters you've never heard of. Some of the main characters, I looked them up and I was like, this isn't a DC character, this is just their own thing. So they did that a lot. But what they did most of all was they introduced the Penguin. They had the, like, Catwoman was like the first thing you see, her as a little girl. Bruce Wayne, obviously, but villain-wise, you know, they put in the Riddler. They put in, I think it was Bane. I need to look that up to make sure. They even had a character who was probably Joker based on how he acted and everything. And just watching, I was like, this is too much. Like you're like shooting all of your cannons into the water right now. Gotham, why are you doing that? Like, why can't you like patiently, you know, introduce us to these characters instead of shoehorning them into like one little district of Gotham that they all happen to be around in? That was a big criticism. I completely agree. So you are going to notice that, and it's a little weird, and I think some people love that, and I think that's what Fox wants. I think people want to really hit the nail on the head that this is a Batman world, so that once they get good enough ratings and they get a second season, then they can spread their story out. Then they can really delve into some of the characters you never heard of in Batman. You know, characters that only the most hardcore fans are going to recognize. And it's going to be weird. It's going to be strange. And I think Gotham has the potential to be what Smallville kind of wishes it could be, but couldn't, because what Superman is about is way too, you know, way too one-dimensional. You know what I'm saying? Like it's way
Absolutely.
too much like heroic hero. Like how many times can you tell that story without eventually he just becomes Superman? But the Batman world is full of so many diverse characters and so many weird, cool concepts that they can really make a compelling show out of this. So I'm hopeful for Gotham, in short, but the pilot is not going to wow you, but I think that's on purpose.
Now, you say that it could be better than what Smallville tried to be, but Smallville was 10 seasons long. That was a pretty good running time for a prequel of Superman, so to speak. Do you think Gotham has what it takes to make it that long?
Well, I don't think Gotham is going to want to last that long. I think Smallville lasted that long because of money, not necessarily because they wanted to tell a good story. And, maybe, and, obviously I should be a little more jaded because if they can do 10 seasons, they probably will try to. But, you're facing the same problem, right? In this case, you have a young Bruce Wayne. Eventually he's, like, going to become Batman. So how do you work that in? And I don't know. Like, I wouldn't measure the value of any show based on how long it lasts. I would base it on just, what you get. How good is that? That's why people love Firefly, even though it lasted one season, right? And that's why, people, sometimes forsake multiple seasons of Lost because the first 3 just happened to be classic, but the rest seemed kind of off. So that's how I would, compare the two. I think Smallville accomplished what it set out to do, but I think people put their own expectations into Smallville that the show never could have lived up to. So that's, a weird analysis. I know. I try to be fair to Smallville because it's just such a different story, but there we go. So that's Gotham. You should check it out. It's on Hulu. If you have Hulu Plus, you can watch it or check your TiVo, see if somebody recorded it. But and I think it's actually on. I think I saw a Facebook post from Fox that they have it streaming live on their website right now, so you can check it out there too. Maria, there was one last thing I wanted to talk to you about before we get into new movies coming out this week. There was a new Big Hero 6 trailer this week, and I know we've talked about Big Hero 6 like 4 weeks in a row now, but do we have any more room to talk about it?
Yes, please, because it's the time where we really should be talking about it because Absolutely. There's no longer any speculation if it's going to be good. I am certain it's going to be amazing.
You are certain? Wow. Okay.
Yes, I was super excited when I saw this trailer. I felt all the feels. It's got like a completely different look from anything we know, and I'm into it. I'm totally into it.
Yeah, it was cool. It was the first trailer, I think, that had the full cast in it and really gave them some time. And we saw them in their costumes. What did you think of the team itself?
The team, it shows just a little bit of them becoming the team, and they look cool enough. But I'm really in love with Baymax. Baymax seems amazing, like a great character. It almost
seems weird to me that they are doing anything but Baymax, because it seems like the marketing is trying to tell us that Baymax is the show. He could be the Quicksilver of this Disney movie, but I don't know. I'm just I'm cautious because I love Big Hero 6, the source material, and I'm slowly accepting that this is not going to be that, especially their origin is so different. First thing being Honey Lemon just Marie wrote a whole thing about how they're just totally butchering the character of Honey Lemon and total concept, and I get that they're trying to make this thing their own. And I get that this isn't, we shouldn't be looking at this as a real adaptation, but I don't know. As someone who hasn't read the comics, are you feeling good about it, just going into it fresh?
I am, and I think that's a difference between you and me, that you are closer to the source material, and I had no idea it even existed. So as a movie, I'm trying to judge it just as a movie and a new, refreshing project that they're doing, and I am very excited about it because I think Baymax seems like a great comic relief character. It seems adorable. It seems like it's got a great message behind it. And I know we talked about the merge or blend they're doing between, what is it, San Francisco and Tokyo. Is that what they're doing?
San Francisco.
Yeah, and I'm actually digging that too. So because I have no knowledge of the prior source material, I'm liking it as a movie that's just coming out separate, with knowing nothing from the comic book. But you seem to be a little skeptical about it because you know more.
I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to think of it the way you are and just be like, okay, this is just a movie. It's not if I want the comic book story, I'm just gonna read the comic book story. That's how I'm interpreting it, and I'm gonna enjoy the movie for what it is. I think that Disney has to make certain decisions based on who they are as a studio. They can't fully adapt something like this because it wouldn't be profitable and they wouldn't be able to do it in the first place. So that's how I've decided to look at it, and I think it looks great. In terms of like when you look at it through those lens, I especially think it's kind of. I think it's interesting to look at how they're positioning Baymax. I think they think that he's going to be the breakout star of this. That he's going to be what pushes. He's going to be the Elsa of it all. It's what's going to push it to a status. It's not going to live up to Frozen. I'm pretty sure of that. But in the idea that it's going to be on everyone's minds and it's going to be this phenomenon. I still think though that a lot of people are going to grab a hold of this one and it's going to do pretty well. I hope. I have high hopes for this movie. I think that Disney needs a win like this to prove that they haven't kind of pushed themselves in a corner with their animated movies. But we'll see. John Lasseter's behind it to an extent, and I think that, I think it has the makings of a cool movie. We'll see, though, in a few short weeks when the movie comes out on November 7th. Maria, we have some new movies coming out next week.
Yes, we do.
We do. Are you gonna watch any of them? I know we were talking about this earlier. Let's go through it. But I have to be honest. I'm just gonna tell you right now. I really don't want to watch any of these. And the only one I kind of want to see is Gone Girl, which stars Ben Affleck. And have you seen the trailer or the just kind of like have you seen what this movie's about?
Yeah, I do have a pretty good idea of what it's about, and it's a book, right? It's based on the book.
Yeah, but the book by Gillian Flynn, I think it's either Gillian or Jillian or something like that.
Yeah, one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a David Fincher movie. So I personally I love David Fincher. I think he did a great job with Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and obviously a lot of people really like Social Network, myself included. Gone Girl is, like I said, starring Ben Affleck, and it basically the story is about this guy named Nick, and it's his 5th wedding anniversary, and he tells everyone that his wife, Amy, who's played by Rosamund Pike, has gone missing, and so it turns into a big media frenzy because people think that he did it, and some things that he said that weren't true are kind of coming out, and everyone's like, did you kill your wife? And it's just like this intense thriller, and you're not supposed to you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's really going on, so it really it looks intense. It also stars Tyler Perry, Neil Patrick Harris. It's a great cast. Are you going to check it out?
I will definitely check it out.
Yeah, I think it could be a good time. It looks like it would be pretty fun. Now, this other film we talked about on the show before. I think we brought this up in our fall preview a few weeks ago. Based on The Conjuring, we're coming out with Annabelle, a horror film within that world. And your reaction, I remember, was kind of like, "Oh, I hate horror movies, and I don't want to."
Something along those lines.
Right? Yeah. This is also coming out, and it stars Annabelle Wallis, funny enough, Ward Horton, Alfred Woodard, Eric Gladden, Tony Amendola, and Brian Howe. I've never heard of any of these people, but I think it's kind of funny that Annabelle Wallis is in this. But so the movie is about a possessed doll who basically tortures the lives of the people who find her. And are you gonna watch it?
You know what? Believe it or not, I'm thinking about it because I need to get over this whole sissy thing that I don't watch horror movies. But I'm not sure if Annabelle should be the way I start. I know it was a big part of The Conjuring. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's worth watching? Because I'm not sure when movies start deviating from the first movie into something else. What do you think?
I think it could go either way. So I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna watch it this week. I'm gonna wait to hear people, because it's either gonna be pretty good, so-so, or horrendous, like any other movie, I guess. But I don't know. I kind of want to gauge people's reactions first before I get into it. But yeah, I mean, if it's scary enough, I'll probably go see it eventually. I really loved The Conjuring anyway, so and then the last movie we have here that's coming out is Left Behind, which is based on the original movie, which came out, technically it's based on the books that came out in the 90s, and there was a movie that came out in the late 90s that was called Left Behind, same story, but they've kind of changed it. They've made it more Hollywood. It stars Nicolas Cage as Rayford Steele, the titular main character, and Leah Thompson, as well as Chad Michael Murray and Jordan Sparks. So the movie is, it's strange because it's based on it's based on Christianity. So the rapture, the idea that millions of people all throughout the world will disappear without a trace because of the second coming. And so it kind of explores, well, if this happens, like, how would the world react? And that's what the books are about. And so they're redoing the story for more of a modern, blockbuster kind of event. And so their plan is they want people who, even if they aren't Christians, to check this out. It's rated PG-13, and it's supposed to just be kind of like a disaster movie. What do you think?
I'm kind of done with the whole apocalyptic thriller films. The only thing that might get me to watch it is the fact that it's Nicolas Cage, and I keep hoping that Nicolas Cage is going to come back and do something great. But I don't know. I don't know if this is the one. Interesting.
So you're a big Nicolas Cage fan?
I have like great nostalgic memories of Nicolas Cage, and then the rest has been awful. So there's a small part of me that's still like, oh, can we go back to the days of Face Off and movies like that? But wow. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Extra credit for Agents of Film. What is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
Oh, God, it's been a really long time. Can we say Face Off for now?
Sure.
There's got to be another one, though.
Great movie.
Give me some names. Do you remember any?
Well, I'll just say exactly what my favorite is, and that is easily, without a doubt, the first National Treasure, which, I get it. Like, it's fun to make fun of National Treasure. I freaking love that movie. Probably for the same reason I love Night at the Museum.
Really?
I do, and I don't care what anybody says.
Have you heard of Indiana Jones, maybe?
I love Indiana Jones, and obviously Indiana Jones is better, but that means nothing to me. But, obviously there are plenty of other movies that he's come out with. I'll go through a list here I have. So he came out with, he was in The Croods. I didn't realize he was one of the voices in that. I've totally missed that one. Ghost Rider, of course, Season of the Witch, Drive Angry, terrible movies, hated those. Sorcerer's Apprentice, not that great. Kick-Ass, everyone knows Kick-Ass. Let's see here, none of these movies are good. Knowing was okay, I like Knowing enough. Bangkok Dangerous, the first Ghost Rider, so he was in Ghost Rider and Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Yeah. The second National Treasure, of course, The Wicker Man, World Trade Center, The Ant Bully, The Weatherman, Lord of War, Life of David Gale.
Oh my God, The Rock. The Rock was one of his movies, right?
Yeah, The Rock.
Sorry, I totally interrupted you, but that one's my favorite.
No, you're right, though.
A great movie.
It's funny because so he came out with The Rock in 1996, then Con Air in 1997, which I love, and then Face Off in 1997, and then City of Angels in 1998. So he had an interesting slew of years there. And then
it was over.
There's plenty more. There's Gone in 60 Seconds, The Family Man. The man has done a lot of movies, basically, and out of all of those, I hold to what I have, which is National Treasure.
All right.
That's my easily. Yeah. So that's what we have coming out this week. Maria, if you really had to watch any of these movies, which would it be?
Gone Girl sounds the most interesting out of all of them, I think. Because I'm a sissy and I probably won't watch Annabelle just yet.
I think I have to agree, but Maria, I mean, Gone Girl still looks like it's going to be pretty intense. So, yeah, I'm just saying. It could probably...
I'm not that bad. I can handle thrillers. I can't handle anything that has to do with ghosts and demons. That's just it, because then I just don't sleep at night.
Gosh. Well, okay, so we'll look... We'll both probably end up seeing Gone Girl, because I don't want to see Annabelle or Left Behind before there's more people checking it out. And it's going to be interesting to see, pre-Batfleck, it's going to be see like how those training regimens have been paying off. From the trailer, you can kind of tell he's been bulking up for this role for Dawn of Justice. And, yeah. So there you go. Well, guys, that's all we have for you on Agents of Film. We hope you have an awesome week, and we have plenty of cool things linked at the bottom. And if you want to check us out on YouTube and subscribe to us, you should totally do that, because we come out with new episodes every single Monday. That's every Monday. So, I'm John Negroni.
I'm Maria Cineclub Garcia.
And we're going to see you guys next week.